Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll just go over some of the plot holes that still remain in the series Attack on Titan. Now, we're going to go through these plot holes under the assumption that there is no AoE. So, ending defenders, I'd like to address you directly. We've watched your videos, we've read your threads, we've seen you in debates where you did not hold up so well, and there are a few things that still, in the series, the way it ends, do not hold up. Now, I know it's going to be really difficult, but if you can, in the comments, when you address these plot points, would you please refrain from saying, you just didn't understand the story, you're mad, this ship is not canon, read the manga again, this is embarrassing, don't send me a thread on Twitter, don't write me off and say okay, don't say I lack reading and comprehension skills, don't say cope, and don't say no true, but okay. I understand the story just fine, up until the final chapter. This is an issue. So if we can, let's have a real discussion in the comments. Let's not insult each other, okay? I know it's easy. It's really easy. But it's really hard to present your points in a way that's respectful. But from what I've seen, it's really hard for an ending defender to do that. So if we could do that, then let's continue and let's have this conversation. This video will be divided into two chapters. One will be the plot holes, and chapter 2 will be my complaints with certain things. You can call these nitpicks if you want. So this next thing I'm going to say goes to whoever it applies to. So if the shoe fits, wear it. Ending defenders, if there is an AoE, I expect you to be upset because in your mind, 139 is the perfect ending, and there are no plot holes, and etc. It perfectly fits for the themes. If there is no AoE, I expect 100 DMs from you guys thirsty to buy my manga collection at a near free discounted price, okay? There's one last thing we need to go over before we get started here. I'll address suspension of belief, right? Now, some of the things that I considered plot holes in my first video, 139 questions left after chapter 139, you can watch that here if you haven't, I didn't really address suspension of belief. So some of those plot points, I do think we can apply to suspension of belief, right? The first of that being Mikasa getting to Paradis with Aaron's head and with no Ackerman powers. And somehow not being seen by the Jaegerists there, right? Somehow getting to bury him, somehow getting to Paradis on her own. That much mileage, no car, no anything. So, the suspension of belief on that one. We will not address that one in this video. 80% of the world stomped flat, yet Marley isn't completely destroyed despite being right across the ocean. Suspension of belief. I don't really understand that. I don't know how suspension of belief can really explain that without like some kind of headcanon. Aaron purposely slowed down, or since the founding Titan is slow moving, he couldn't, whatever. We'll just leave that one up to suspension of belief. The Alliance not dying while fighting all the shifters of the past. We'll leave that up to suspension of belief. They are the longest standing survey corps. We'll leave it at that. And the Alliance not running out of gas while fighting the shifters of the past in their pursuit of Eren, right? We'll just leave that all up to suspension of belief. Now, another thing I want to address was we can address the room for interpretation. Now, there's a way to interpret stuff without using headcanons. There is no way to be 100% certain of a character's motivations. We can only use the manga. The most reliable parts of the manga, especially regarding a character's motivations, are their thoughts, their inner monologue. What makes their motivations more clear is their actions. And what makes it even more clear is a pattern of actions that also correspond and correlate to their inner monologues. It becomes especially more clear if it is a pattern of actions. Let's stay grounded in the manga. Let's reduce our usage of headcanons. Let's avoid them altogether, if at all possible. Which I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be really hard to do if you're trying to justify chapter 139. And without further ado, so let's begin. Chapter 1. The plot holes. The first plot hole I want to address is number 1. What are Mikasa's headaches? So there's a couple options here. A, are Mikasa's headaches Ymir peeking into Mikasa's head? Let's explore that. During chapter 138, Mikasa gets a really bad headache. Explain to me what's going on here. Why does her headache become excruciating? Because she gets a vision, right? So most ending defenders don't believe in timelines. So Eren sent her a vision, right? What does that have to do with her headaches that are caused by Ymir? If the headaches are caused by Ymir, then maybe Ymir sent Mikasa the vision. The vision that caused Mikasa to want to kill Eren. If the headaches were her peeking into Mikasa's mind, and she gets the most excruciating headache right before she gets that vision, you can only assume that Ymir sent her that vision. Now, can you use the manga to disprove that Ymir sent Mikasa the vision? No, you cannot. But you can use chapter 139 to prove it, as she relates the headaches to Ymir. So then did Ymir manipulate Mikasa to kill Eren? So then how was that Mikasa's choice? How did that free Ymir? If this isn't the case, then explain the massive headache to me that she gets in 138. Why is it that excruciating? Please, support it with the manga. No headcanons here. If the headaches are due to Ymir peeking inside of Mikasa's head throughout the entire series, then we can only assume that she gets that really excruciatingly bad headache because Ymir sent her the vision of the cabin and Eren. And that vision is what compels Mikasa to kill Eren. Therefore, Ymir manipulated Mikasa. That's the only explanation there is. So then how did that decision that she got from a vision that she gave her, how did that free her? How did that show her that she could have gollied up the courage to kill Fritz? This is all about the headaches then, right? So if they weren't because Mikasa had Ymir peeking into her head, then were the headaches, like Eren said, because of the Ackerman powers? Okay, let's go with that. Eren says because Mikasa is an Ackerman, and she mistakenly assumed that he was her host, that she would do anything to protect him, right? And then we get support for this notion because Mikasa bends Armin over the table like he's a sack of potatoes. It supports it. So why does this happen? Maybe Eren can manipulate Mikasa. She's kind of a titan, right? Well, no, he can't because Ackermans can't be influenced by the coordinate or royal blood or whatever. So what is happening here? Hold on to that thought though, right? Maybe you don't like the notion that it's the headaches are because of her Ackerman power, right? So let's say it's option 1 then. Her headaches are because of Ymir peeking into her head. So why does Levi get headaches? Is she also waiting to see if he can let go of his lover? Is Arari canon? Or is Aruri canon? But wait a minute. Levi chose Armin over Erwin. He put his love aside for the greater good. Why couldn't Ymir end the curse there? Erwin's a devil after all. Okay, no, you don't like that one? Okay, let's say it's option 2 then. Mikasa, her Ackerman powers are why she gets the headaches. That makes a bit more sense, right? So there's Zeke saying he's never heard of that, which doesn't refute the fact that it could still be true. This would explain Levi's headaches and say that Erwin was a host for Levi, but it's never really explained when Levi's powers get activated. But I still want to know who sent the vision to Mikasa. Was it Ymir? Or did you want to go back to the previous assumption that Eren actually sent her this vision? How? Explain the logistics of that. Because for everybody else, he had to die before they got their special personalized Eren vision. Why is it that Mikasa had access to this, quote, Eren vision, end quote, before he even died? Is this another special Ackerman power that she had that we just never were aware of as the audience? I always thought it was kind of absurd that Zeke knew all these things about the royal blood and the founding titan and all of that anyway. I always thought that was really absurd. So maybe Zeke doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe the Ackerman headaches and host thing is real. But then we still need to know why she gets an excruciating headache right before she gets the vision from Eren or from Ymir. Like who gives her the vision? Are the headaches from Ymir peeking into Mikasa's mind? If so, then why does she get an excruciating headache before Eren sends her a vision? Or was Eren not lying at the table scene And her headaches are because she's an Ackerman, which are supported by her throwing Armin over the table. So if it's excellent writing and it's peak fiction, then explain the severe headache to me. And remember, under the guise that AoE is not happening, no headcanons, use the manga to explain that severe headache to me. And don't forget the fact that Levi gets them too. Well, we can't stay on this point forever. So let's move on to the second plot hole. What was the vision? Was it even a vision? Again, assuming you do not believe in AoE, how is this vision even possible? Because she's an Eldian. Okay, so she and an Ackerman, right? She's not just an Eldian, she's an Ackerman too. Can be influenced or manipulated by the coordinate. If you can manipulate an Ackerman's reality to the extent where Mikasa goes from wanting to save Eren to wanting to kill him, what exactly is it that the Ackermans are immune to? If their minds can be manipulated to that extent, they are no safer than regular Eldians from the coordinates' powers. The First Kings should have been sending false realities to Ackerman since the beginning of time. So what is this vision? What does the manga tell you that this vision is? Also, Eren is using the Warhammer Titan. How does she know he's in the mouth? Are we going to assume he whispered it to her in the vision? Not plausible. I didn't think so either. She's an Ackerman after all. Her reality should not be able to be shifted like this with the coordinate ability. Like, when have we ever seen that in the story? So maybe it was Ymir herself. You know, if it wasn't the coordinate, it was the founder herself. Maybe that makes more sense. But does it? Why would she send that and influence Mikasa's decision? How is that an authentic choice? It could be explained by AoE, but y'all don't believe in that, so we're gonna rule this one a plot hole. Now, this next one, number 3, it's not really a plot hole, it's just something I can't really get over. Why was Marco not present in 139 in the smoke of all the ghosts of all the fallen comrades? He impacted Jean a lot, and everybody liked him. He is, like, literally forgotten. Now, I have a theory about it, and I think it's to absolve Annie of most of her wrongdoing. It's not a plot hole, but it's not good payoff. She gets everything she wants. Now, literally every other character in the series has given up on a dream and made sacrifices. But for Annie, she ruthlessly kills and conspires, and she gets her father at the end. It's not good payoff. Anyways, let's move on to number 4. Again, not a plot hole, but the Marleyans and John and Connie turning into Titans was tragically beautiful and very poetic. Them turning back the next chapter was cheap and was not good payoff. And you can't say that I'm just saying this because I don't like them, because I like John a lot. I think John is a really, really good character. I love him. He's neat. But them turning back at the end was very cheap. I thought that would have been a very poetic ending for the Marleyans who hated the Paradisians this whole time. You know, I thought that was really nice. Plot hole number 5. Eren not knowing if his friends would survive. It's bad, and it doesn't make sense. He wants his friends to live long, happy lives above all else, right? He admits that he wasn't sure they'd be alive by the end of the rumbling. So how would his 80% plan work then? Had all of his friends died, which was very possible and plausible, how was his 80% plan? How was it his plan to make the Alliance superheroes and just kill 80%? If they all died, which he says they could have, he didn't know, would he still would have stopped at 80%? Then what was the plan then? So you have to admit that Eren didn't have a plan. So if he didn't have a plan, and he wanted his friends to live long, happy lives, and yet he still rumbled just because he felt like he had to, because he wanted to, he doesn't care about his friends. He's selfish. He rumbled because he wanted to. He did not know if they would survive. So then tell me, how was it his main priority to get his friends to live long, happy lives? This only makes sense if there's 3 Erens in his own brain right now. One Eren who just wants to rumble just for a good time. One Eren who just wants his friends to live long, happy lives. And one Eren that's just fucking psychotic. There's no other explanation for this. He contradicts himself 3 times in chapter 139 alone. And then chapter 139 flips his motivations from the 138 other chapters. It just flips it right on its head. And the notion that once Eren hugged Ymir, he received another future memory, that's a headcanon. We don't see that. That is a headcanon. We do not see that. So in your hour 30-minute long videos, you'd have to show me some proof that he receives another vision of the future, and that changes his motivation. Because where does that come from? That's literally a headcanon that you pulled out of nowhere. So now you've arrived at the Arahisu plot holes. Plot hole number 6. The Historia baby plot. And yes, there is one. Yes, there is a Historia baby plot. So with this baby plot, our first option is, since Historia learns to be selfish, regardless of the wine plan, she has a baby to protect herself. Oh, just in case the wine plan didn't work. The baby was her security blanket, right? Okay, Zeke hasn't even landed in Paradis yet, first and foremost. Secondly, Eren was willing to stay and fight or run away with her. So why did she think of having a baby? That actually makes no sense. Like, why? It was her idea to have a baby. It was Eren's idea to stay and fight or run away with her. Where does baby come from out of those options? If she's learning to be selfish and living for herself, why is she sleeping up with her bully, right? With her former bully. Like, I don't understand how that's a selfish decision to make when she could have ran away, which would have been a proper selfish thing to do. Eren's a whole titan. He's a whole titan. And he was ready and willing to run away with her and protect her, or stay with her and fight the military by himself. A question I've wanted to ask Ending Defenders that I've never, not even once, heard an answer to was, why does Isayama make the decision to hide Eren's answer to her asking if she should have a baby? Why is it a choice for him to hide that answer? If you answer nothing else in this video, answer me that. Why is that a writing decision he makes, not to clear it up? Was it to mislead us into thinking Eren is the father? Okay, so then is Arahisu romance coded or not? Because most Ending Defenders I know would say they're not romance coded. So let's go with that then. Let's say it's not romance coded. So why does Historia ask Eren the question then, if she should have a baby? What is the purpose? Why does Eren only tell Flock and Historia about his plan? As queen, she could have had Eren detained or eaten immediately, but instead, she keeps his secret for the long haul. She keeps his secret real long, just like he kept the secret about a royal titan being what's needed to control the coordinate, right? Why is this done? She's the worst girl in the world that saved him that day. So maybe that's why he's super adamant about not sacrificing her as like a pay it forward kind of thing. Why? And why does Hanji bring up Historia while Eren is in jail? And why does she get a reaction from him? Nothing else she says to him gets a reaction until she brings up Historia. Like, why is this done? This was a writing decision. Like, you guys are acting like this is just Humpty Dumpty normal everyday life. Everything in the manga is supposed to have a purpose. Everything is a writing decision that's supposed to lead somewhere. And if it doesn't, then why is it in the story in the first place? Why are so many panels wasted on Eren talking about Historia? Why are so many panels wasted on Eren talking to Historia? What is the purpose? And again, the only character we see with a jacket in this series with a hoodie is Eren. So no, Ending Defenders, that's not Yelena outside of the barn when Historia is talking to the farmer. That's Eren. It is. And why is he there? Why? So Arahisu is not romance coded, yet he conceals his Eren's answer about whether Historia should have a baby or not. Yet he draws them at the fence, just like the devil and the Ymir apple. Okay, we're getting a little off topic here. But what is the purpose of all this? If it's not romance coded, why are these things here? Why didn't we receive a direct, clear, concise answer from Eren on whether she should have this baby or not? If it wasn't to confuse us because Historia is so obviously in love with the farmer, then what is the purpose of this? If it wasn't to have us doubt whether Eren was the father or not. And then again, with the military police gossiping about her, if the purpose wasn't to confuse us or have us think that Eren could possibly be the father, then what is the purpose of including these scenes? Why do we see the military police gossiping about her? What is the point of adding that if it's not for us to doubt the father? So now it's just military police gossiping and being 100% correct. What is the point of showing us that if we weren't supposed to be confused in the first place? Because Historia obviously loves the farmer. And Eren would never have a baby with Historia. So what's the purpose of showing us the military police talking about what everyone in the fandom is thinking anyway? Right? Since it makes so much sense. Since there's only a little handful of people who don't like the ending, right? Since such a small majority of us thought that Eren was the father, why are the military police having this conversation just confirming the fact that Eren isn't the father, that Historia has oddly laid up with this farmer and got pregnant? Well, why is he telling us this? We know this already, right? Let's say Arahisu is romance coded. Yeah, why not? Let's say it is. So then why isn't Eren the father? Why does Eren sacrifice Historia by the end of the series? Her character progression is her becoming selfish and learning to live for herself, right? So in doing so, when she asks Eren if she should have a child, she knows about Aramika, right? And how Eren is so in love with Mikasa. Eren is the only male character she is fond of in any way. Why isn't the baby his? Did Historia develop or not? Did she selfishly choose to have Eren's baby, or did she selflessly choose to have a farmer's who bullied her? How does the plan go from we have two options, stay and fight or run away, to should I have a baby, Eren? We're missing way too much of the story. Anyways, let's get to plot hole number 7. Eren doesn't know why he rumbled. This is ridiculous for a lot of reasons. Because he states his motivation multiple times. And pre-139, his mantra is, I'm going to kill all enemies. Anybody who threatens my freedom, I won't hesitate to kill them. Right? All of that is meaningless now, right? And then somehow, after 139, none of that matters. And it was just to get Ymir to see a choice by Mikasa, right? And no, there was no extra vision. Like I said, there was no extra vision because the manga doesn't support that. It does not show an extra vision when he hugged Ymir. So now we have him lying in his inner monologue throughout the series. He saw an extra memory that changed his mind. That's a headcanon. So explain that to me. How does he not know why he's doing the rumbling? We talked about this a little earlier. Was it to save his friends? Then he would know. Was it just because he felt like he had to? Okay, then he's psychotic, and it wasn't to save his friends. So, like, what is it? Which one? It can't be all of them. Our 8th plot hole. Ymir waiting for Mikasa. No, they are not antitheses. So, if it was true before that Mikasa's Ackerman powers are what, keeps her a host. Eren is her host, right? That's why she slams Armin onto the table. If you say that's canon, yes, it's her Ackerman powers. Then they're not antitheses. That's really hard to say. Then they're both slaves, right? Why else would she slam Armin on the table? And why else would, regardless of anything, she's gonna protect Eren, right? Wouldn't that then be the same character arc? But no, it wouldn't, would it? Because if Mikasa serves Eren because of her blood, she doesn't choose to serve Eren, so then how does Ymir see herself in Mikasa? Ymir made the choice to serve Fritz. If it's Mikasa's blood that makes her serve and protect Eren, then she's not choosing. So then let's say no, Eren was lying. Eren was lying, there is no host, it doesn't exist, Mikasa was free to choose to follow him. Explain the Armin table scene to me then. It's never explained. Remember, no headcanons. Explain that to me. And Mikasa could have died several times leading up to the rumbling. Like the full effect, like face head-on battle. She could have died so many times. And Eren even says he didn't know his precious friends would survive the rumbling. So how is it that Ymir was waiting for Mikasa? We would have need to see some Ymir intervention keeping Mikasa alive, right? In order for that to make sense. But no, Mikasa's left to her own devices. She could have very well died during the rumbling. So then how would Ymir have seen the choice to free her? She just wouldn't have. And all of the parallels between Historia and Ymir are just garbage now, just meaningless. And a specific effort A skillful effort was put into making Historia and Ymir parallels. Frida, who's influenced by the first King of the Walls, telling child Historia, hey, be like her, be like this slave girl. Krista, be like her. Be like a slave. And by the end of the series, Historia's like, absolutely not. I will not be like that. And she rejects it. Eren and Historia are the antithesis of Fritz and Ymir. Period. And it's specifically and skillfully drawn out like that, and the proof is in the pictures. You cannot deny that. And if you do, you're being disingenuous. If it was meaningless the entire time to set Historia up as the Ymir parallel, as the antithesis of Ymir, why? Why is it done? It's a waste of panels. It's a waste of time. And it's just misleading us and helping us misunderstand the story, right? Our 9th plot hole, Eren freeing Ymir in paths. Or I guess, not freeing Ymir in paths. They expect you to believe that Ymir committed atrocities in paths for 2,000 years, obeying royal blood and orders, just to see some choice some girl makes in the future about a loved one. She doesn't care about Eren. Right? If that's the truth. She doesn't care about Eren. So why does she respond to his embrace? Explain that face to me. What is that face supposed to represent that she makes when Eren embraces her? Also, why does Eren have a full range of Titans if they aren't, like, merged now? Because he made a Colossal Titan. So both Eren and Ymir were both working together because, I mean, it's not clearly stated, but we're to assume that Ymir sent the Titan shifters of the past, or paths, whichever, I guess, to slay the Alliance, which included Mikasa. So then what? Were the shifters of the past just playing around? Did they receive intel specifically not to kill Mikasa? No, because they were going for her. They were going after her. Okay. So what's going on here? Mikasa could have lost her life. How is this all just a simulation? How is Ymir not free? What? So please explain it to us. Explain the face Ymir makes when Eren embraces her. Explain that at the very least. If you can do nothing else, tell me what that face is. Tell me what that's supposed to represent. Tell me what feeling that is. And I'm a psych major, and just wanted to let you know, it's a specific feature of sociopathology not being able to register human emotions by their facial expressions. So don't tell on yourself in the comments. And it's not a plot hole, it's something more that's like unexplained. Please, Ending Defenders, tell me what that scenery was that Eren was fighting so hard to see. What was that scenery? Just let me know. Because with the events of the story, nothing really makes sense. So what was that scenery? Because he showed it to Grisha, and that made Grisha give him the Titans. So, also answer that one. So our 10th plot hole. Eren was a slave to paths or to fate the entire series. No. I'm just gonna say no on that one. Attack on Titan, they said themselves in the series, the Attack Titan strives for freedom throughout history, right? That's why we get Eren Kruger, right, committing atrocities against his own people to pass the Attack Titan on to Grisha, someone who aligns with his ideals, fighting for freedom, right? And then that's why Grisha gives it to Eren. We see this entire series that Eren always, against all odds, he will always go against the grain to reach his goals, which are explicitly stated so many times throughout the series. So why does he just stop in the last chapter? Apparently now his goal wasn't always freedom. Apparently now his goal wasn't always Paradis' safety, right? What? So what was it then? Why does he stop at the finish line? If he is a slave to his freedom, then wouldn't that mean he would keep going, finish the rumbling, and ensure his freedom? Like Kenny said, everyone's a slave to something, so you tell me what Eren is a slave to in this series. Is it Ymir? Is it his love? Like, what is it? That doesn't make that much sense to me. But hey, you thought the ending made sense, so you go ahead and explain all of that to me. Anyways, those are the plot holes that I could find. There's probably more, honestly. Just ask Saint It Chief. There's probably a lot more. But now I just, it's time for chapter 2. Just like a bunch of shit that I don't like. Stuff that went nowhere, stuff that doesn't make sense. But I can't necessarily call them plot holes. But you can explain them for me. Number 1, what scenery did Eren show Grisha? I already went over that. Reiner transferring his consciousness as an ex machina. And it just, it's never brought up in the series ever again. The Warhammer Titan only gets Eren out of jail and aids with his little fight against Reiner and Porco. So Eren only cared about his precious friends the whole time, right? Yet, at the same time, he only cared about getting Ymir to see this choice that Mikasa made. Regardless of anything, regardless of who died, because he didn't know who would die, right? Like, which one is it? His friends are precious, yet Sasha's allowed to die. Marco is just forgotten by everyone. Like, nobody remembers Marco. Nobody cares, and nobody remembers. Eren was bad for genocide before he died. After he saved Connie's mom and Reiner, he's praised. So given the context, genocide is okay. Like, is genocide to be condemned in all instances? Or is it okay in some context? For the greater of Eren's people, genocide is bad. But for the greater of Reiner, Peak, Levi, Connie's mom, then it's fine. What? How does that make sense? Yeah, the Arahisu plot is a dead end. Aramika established as one-sided and familial at first, then suddenly it's the romantic focus of the entire series. In one chapter, it becomes the focus of all the themes of the entire series, Aramika, in one chapter. Okay. And then the series just altogether becomes a romance at the end. Eren never consents to the Aramika kiss, by the way. I will die on that fucking hill. You cannot consent to a kiss if your head has been chopped off. You cannot. The 7 seconds of consciousness you have in your brain, well, it's not even consciousness, it's just brain activity. It's like synapses just firing off just cuz. But it's not actual consciousness. He did not consent to that kiss. Aramika is still one-sided. Well, I guess not, because, apparently Eren hopes Mikasa never gets over him for at least 10 years, and he wants to be with them all so badly, right? The Alliance being best friends is unrealistic. Now, every ending defender will talk about how realistic Attack on Titan is, that the war never ends, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, why is the Alliance still friends? That's not realistic at all. That is the furthest thing from realistic. Annie is a psychotic sociopath. Okay, maybe they would be friends with Reiner, maybe, because he showed some remorse for the things that he did. Annie doesn't care. And Peak? What? Okay. The only thing that makes sense is Gabby and Falco, like, living their lives away from war, away from being ambassadors and whatnot. But what doesn't make sense is Levi being with them. I will say that. Armin x Annie. Unrealistic. Unless the table scene was true, right? So, like, what I'm getting from this is that Eren didn't lie at the table scene. Because why is Armin infatuated with murderer Annie? If his whole philosophy is violence doesn't solve anything, and here's the most violent character in the series, aside from Eren, why are they together? That doesn't make sense. And then the worm that was separate from Ymir before they made contact dies because Ymir wills it to. That makes no sense. It was alive and well before Ymir came into contact with it, and then after, when she decides, I'm ready to die, it just wants to die. Okay, that makes no sense. Eren Kruger fighting with the Alliance against Eren Yeager makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You cannot justify that to me. Here's a ruthless killer killing his own people for years just to freaking attempt to assassinate the person that carried his will forward. It makes no sense. And yeah, the last thing I have here, we kind of went over it already. Thank you for 80% genocide, but 100% genocide. Bad. Makes no sense. Pick a side. The way this series ends, Isayama does kind of say, hey, genocide is the answer. Because you know how easy it would have been for him to end the series with world peace? It's his story. If his message was genocide is bad, then once they stopped it, Paradis should have been thriving. Yet he makes the deliberate decision to draw Paradis being bombed. So then the only mistake, the only way Paradis could have survived was by Eren's rumbling. A complete rumbling. That's what he's saying. Yeah, let's say it's realistic. Okay, it's realistic, cool. But he has the pen. He's the one who makes the statement by the way the story ends. And by him saying, oh, Paradis, damned to die, it says that genocide was the right answer for Paradis' survival. Peace was not the right answer. Negotiations were not the right answer. Genocide was. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. If you disagree with me, go ahead, write a book about it in the comments. Let's see. Let's see. Let's freaking see. So follow me on Twitter at Brown's Tragic. Follow Tinza at Justice for Eren. And we'll see where this goes. I'm sorry this is so long, but it's necessary. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Oh, I forgot. I wrote notes on this last thing I want to say. I feel like back before chapter 139, me and the ending defenders would have gotten along, like, pretty well. And I'll tell you why. Back when the chapters were being released, there was a lot of, like, hypercritical people. Like, especially, like, after chapter 100 and stuff. Everybody was just super critical. This is shit. This series is falling to shit. Da-da-da. Look at these leaks. Look at these leaks suck or whatever. And I would be the main one. Wait until the fucking chapter comes out. Like, how stupid are you? You're looking at leaks and judging the quality of the chapter by some leaks? Like, a couple pages of some faces and shit? So I would be out, like, tooth and nail, like, fighting these people, defending Isayama. So there was a little ending, well, not ending, but there was Isayama defender in Browns, right? At some point. There was. But with the way the story ends, that all goes out of the window. It all goes out of the window. You know, like, I've always been a believer that, oh, depiction does not equal glorification, right? Like, when people would be like, yeah, this is Nazi and, like, Germany, like, appraisal or whatever the fuck, I'd be like, you're stupid. No, it's just depiction. It's like, it's like an allegory. Like, it's not him being an apologist. It's an allegory. But with the way the series ends, it doesn't end in world peace. So even after Mikasa does the right thing and kills the terrorist, right? She kills the terrorist and it doesn't end in world peace. So it's him saying that the correct decision, since there wasn't world peace after it, the correct decision, the correct in quotes, right, wasn't the right decision. So if ending the violence doesn't result in world peace, then the only option is the genocide for Paradis' survival, which we've known the whole series, you know? So it's like, what are you really trying to say here, Isayama? That's it, bye.